You wouldn't play a game the second half the same way you would the first, especially if you had the lead. This is the Retirement Halftime Show, helping you maintain your lead in retirement.
We're here today with Alexander Joyce with ReJoyce Financial. Alex, there are a lot of upcoming retirees. They know they have some assets to retire on, but they're not sure how it's all going to come together. And this is something you address in Chapter 2 of your book, ReJoyce in Retirement, everything you know to get everything you want. Hoping you have enough money to retire is not always good.
It's not. I mean, I always say, hope is not a strategy.
Right.
And I think you're right. I think a lot of people, they have a lot of stuff, and I think that sometimes people have more stuff than they have money. It's valuable. And some people have more money than they have stuff.
Yeah.
And in the grand scheme of things, kind of like calculating an estate.
Yes.
When we do estate planning with a client, it's like, what are we trying to do with this money and stuff, right? I mean, are we doing legacy planning? And then one of the very common questions I ask, and I put this in the book, Rejoice in Your Retirement, everything you need to know to get everything you want. I put this in the book because I want people to ask themselves and be honest with themselves about this question. The purpose of the money, all right? Is it live on or is it leave on? Most people would say, well, both. Whatever I don't spend, I'd like to leave behind. But then there's others that say, well, I have a defined purpose. I have a defined legacy goal for these dollars. And a lot of times we carve out that money designed for a legacy for that reason. Now, to really address this question, most people come to our office and they've got stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest confusing points or misunderstandings or miscommunication is that people think they have to have everything in order to give to the advisor. And then the advisor takes everything in order and executes a plan or an investment strategy. That's not always the case.
Okay.
I think that if everybody had everything in order, they wouldn't need guys like me.
Okay.
And so part of the process, if you will, and we have one from start to finish, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, right? We built that process to give our clients and people watching our show like this an opportunity to engage, pay us a visit, and look at what our process looks like. When they leave our office, when they leave us for the first time, it's always important what to expect in the next visit. They come in for the next visit. It's also very important to understand what the priority is and the goal is for the next visit. The roadmap is painted in front of them.
Right.
So all they've got to do is take a little bit of time, right? And get engaged and see if you like us a little bit, right? See if you like us a little bit. And if you do, then we'll continue the dating process. One day maybe we'll get married and maybe one day we won't. Right? And such is true with the fundamentals of any relationship.
And you make it easy, and you make it easy to understand in this with the hope so versus the no so fun money. The hope so money is a lot of fun, right? You can make money quicker. The no so money is more reliable, maybe not as sexy. But I love how you kind of put it into terms.
Yeah, you know what? And I've also made it so simple because the thing about my industry is it's difficult. It's heavy. I don't care what you do. We've retired lots of people in different career paths, whether it's doctors or engineers or architects out there building bridges. People building aircrafts to go to the moon, right?
Wow.
And then elementary teachers. Right? The most underpaid people in the world. Teachers, right? Servants, public servants. And the thing is, they don't know how to buy stock, perhaps, or they don't know how to measure their own risk. And so we look at like, hey, you know what? Let's take it back to grade school level, if you will, and the concept of money. What is green money?
Right.
What is yellow money? What is red money? And then what are the opportunities? What does the opportunity cost? What is the risk associated with each category of money? And so I think that, in my industry, we automatically think everybody knows everything.
Right.
We automatically think everybody knows what an RMD is, or these acronyms, or they have no idea. And then more so, right, Heather, they don't care.
Right.
They don't care.
Yeah,
right?
You do it. Yeah.
They want to have trust that the person they're working with knows how to do it.
Right.
And so, but listen, that process and engagement and trust takes time.
The other thing, though, is I think that we look at what our grandparents did, what our parents did. Those rules don't necessarily apply today. And that's where our thinking, I think, needs to be changed a little bit. Like
Appreciate you.
The 4% rule and things like that.
You did read the book.
Yes, I read it. I did my homework.
So the 4%, it used to be that, conventional wisdom. Listen, people had pensions. Social Security was real.
Yep.
And they take their assets, they take 4% out, they index it for inflation. Look at the inflation.
Yeah.
How do you index a portfolio at inflation levels are near 10%? How do you do that, right? I mean, you will certainly outlive that money faster than you know, especially if you're all in the market. Pensions, defined benefit plans are gone. Yeah. You see FedEx now really just shifting all their benefit plans out.
Yep.
You see companies like Google laying off 12,000 people at a time. Yeah. These things never happened, right? Back in the day, if you will. And so when we look at our overall economy and we look at the environment that we're in, take our personal bias out and just look at the data, it's difficult to retire. It is difficult to save the money at all, let alone stay retired forever.
I know.
So you need people like us.
You do, and you talk about the rule of 100. That's kind of some simple math, really easy formula to kind of get you started.
You're right. You just take your age and you back out 100, if you will, and what's left over should be the conventional, again, traditional, if you would. The leftover number should be what's exposed to equities, risk, red money.
Yeah, so interesting. Well, so what I'm hearing, Alex, is it's a plan, it's a process, it's hiring a professional like you guys to manage this for you. Everyone's unique. You guys are a one-stop shop. You do it all.
We do it all. We do taxes, tax planning, estate planning, build trusts, break trusts, build wills, administer them.
All of it.
We do all of it. Financial planning. I mean, we do absolutely every bit of that for our clients. What's really cool about us, it doesn't cost a penny. So why not us? Why not us?
As always, great information. We'll have more information for you coming up, so stick around.
Next on the Retirement Halftime Show, catching up with Indy's favorite TV anchor, Andrea Morehead. How you'll be able to see her award-winning reporting on the people and organizations improving lives in our community. And choosing a guardian to care for your children in case something awful happens. What you need to consider before making a decision. Text Alexander today and schedule a visit to discuss your financial goals for tomorrow and beyond. Text 707-ReJoyce.
The journey to retirement takes many twists and turns. Don't take that trip alone. Let the team at ReJoyce Financial be your co-pilot. The expert team of financial planners can create a roadmap that gets you to your goals. They'll work with you to create a financial plan that gives you confidence and peace of mind. Start the process today. Call 317-903-9157 or text 707-ReJoyce. Rejoice in your retirement.
You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show, powered by ReJoyce Financial.
You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show. I'm your host, Alexander Joyce, and with me today is Andrea. She is our community impact anchor, and we're really super excited. I mean, everybody has been just chomping at the bit, and it is just an awesome feeling, and just rejoice for the opportunity to just sit here with you and welcome you to our show and welcome you to the team as our community impact anchor. What does that mean to you?
Well, first of all, just thank you so much for inviting me to be part of your phenomenal team. You, along with your staff, you all are incredible. I've had such an amazing week, and I'm so looking forward to this collaboration and partnership. The Community Impact Anchor. I mean, I'm going to be able to go out and tell stories that really matter to our community. We're going to be focusing on stories with nonprofit organizations, talking about the wonderful things they're doing in our community, and how you, sitting at home, how you can also be involved, whether you are getting ready to retire or you are retired. You get a chance to learn about these organizations in our community who are doing wonderful things to support people here in our city and beyond Indianapolis to live their best lives. And so I'm excited about meeting the people, bringing these stories to everyone, and you finding ways in which you can serve and give back as well. So this is literally my dream job.
Isn't it cool?
I'm just going to put that out there. It's my dream job. It's what I love to do, is telling great stories of inspiration and hope, and even educating people along the way.
How about that? I mean, that's the one thing that I really enjoy doing in being involved in our community and leading with education, whether it be, finance, or whether it be, financial literacy, whether it be people that think that they're too mature in life, or people that think that they're too young. Yeah. It's never a good time to do certain things in life, like start a family or have a child, but saving is one of the things that we always encourage people to do. And no matter what, they have to have the proper education and the tools, if you will, to take that leap of faith. And I think working with you one-on-one with these things, and actually some of the things you've done with our clients just recently, and just sitting with them and learning about the experience, those that were just thinking about retiring, and then they belong to our family now, and then what that means to them. I mean, maybe tell us a little bit about some of the takeaways or feelings and some of the things you learned there.
You know, one of the people that we spoke with was Rhonda. She lost her husband about 8 or 9 years ago, and I remember speaking with her 7 years ago was when we first met, and she had joined the ReJoyce family, and she said that you guys did such an amazing job of just kind of walking her through the steps. What does it look like? All the paperwork that she needed to make sure that she was being prepared for retirement. She lost her parents a couple of years ago as well. Same scenario. ReJoyce Financial, you all were here to help her. And so some of the things that I'm learning, I'm almost close to retirement. I don't know if I should tell my age. Okay, let's be real. I will be 54 in November, so I'm not quite to retirement, but doing these stories, I'm being educated and preparing myself for the future as well. And what I have learned and what's been so amazing connecting with people is that a lot of us don't think about it. It's like you're saving for your 401k, but you forget that when that time comes, how else can I spend my money? How else can I use that money to serve that still even benefits me? What are some of those tax breaks that I'll be able to get in addition to that? But also, how do I spend the money in a way that is also in service to other people that, of course, still benefit me? So it's just been amazing just meeting these people and just talking to them about what retirement looks like for them, some of the passions that they are now engaged in, some of the things that they're doing in the local communities and how they're serving and giving back. And so these are the stories that are important to help us, again, live our best lives.
Absolutely. It's all about setting people free, isn't it?
That's the word, it's freedom. And I heard that a lot of times that people say they thought that retirement was going to be, oh, I'm sitting at home and I'm not doing anything, and now they say they're busier than ever because now they have the freedom. And that is so important for all of us, to be in a spirit and in a place of pure freedom, because when you're free, you have joy.
Isn't that the truth?
ReJoyce Financial. See how that all comes back?
It all comes back. It's a blessing, truly. I thank you, Andrea. It's
so
really
welcome.
an opportunity. Thank you. Again, you're watching the Retirement Halftime show, folks. Stay tuned. There's more show to come.
Next, one of the most important decisions you may ever have to make. Who should care for your children in case the worst ever happens? A frank discussion about the qualities that make for a good guardian. And hiring the right people to help you drive success. The 5 traits Butler University's athletics director looks for when choosing a new coach. How you can use those same traits to choose the right financial advisor for you. Coming up.
You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show, powered by ReJoyce Financial.
You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show. I'm your host, Alexander Joyce, and of course, joined with me today is Alan Kowalski. He is our estate planning attorney here at the office and wealth strategist. And we're starting a 2-part series, of course, this being number 1, right? The first part of the 2-part, if you will. And we're talking about children. We're talking about young couples. We're talking about people that have a legacy desire, money and stuff, if you will, or stuff, to be left to a young person, right? Whether that be a young 5 years old, or whether that be young 18 years old, right? And so there's certainly milestones and maturity factors and things to consider leading up to that point. Because I think, when we think about leaving a large lump sum of money, sometimes that could hurt someone or derail the family plan, right? Whether it be college or university goals or legacy goals in terms of the footprint that was kind of painted before them. And I think whatever the case may be, every family has a different dynamic. And I think when we think of that overall, we think, well, number 1, how do we protect that? And then number 2, of course, how do we see it through to make sure that goal is met? And so what better person to have a conversation with than Alan Kowalski, you being an attorney and have been doing this for quite some time. Blessed to have you here. And so what are the things that, number 1, what are some of the things that we really should be thinking about on this subject matter?
Okay, thank you, Alex. I guess I'd like to set a little context to start out. Take the context of young families. Okay, now young families, in my experience, they often don't think they need estate planning.
Very true.
Why? Hopefully they're healthy. They're young.
They're going to live forever.
They're not thinking about their mortality.
Right.
They may not have what they consider to be very significant wealth, and they may just think the process is too expensive. Okay.
True.
But what I want to point out is, if they've got young children, that's their most precious possession, if you will, or their treasure. So really every couple with young children should be planning first to take care of the child. If God forbid something happens to both of them, if it's a couple or if you have a single parent, who's going to step into your shoes to essentially be parent or guardian over the person of the child? And then secondly, and also important, is who's going to manage their inheritance when they're not quite ready for it yet. And like you said, that could be a 5-year-old, or it could just be, you may not want even your 18, 20, or 23-year-old, depending on the circumstances, your level of wealth, and the 23-year-old. You want some control still in that. So planning for the caring of the person and caring for their inheritance, two components of planning for a minor child.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
So starting out with the person, we call that a guardian over the person. So really every young couple should name somebody to take care of their child in their will. You have to name this in a will. This is something that cannot be done in a trust. This has to be named in the will, the guardian. Who's going to step into your shoes and take care of your child? If you don't name somebody to take care of your minor child, step in as their parent, basically have all the power of a parent over their educational decisions, their medical decisions, their faith decisions. The court's going to name somebody to do that for you. But of course, the court doesn't know you, your family, and that child as well as you do.
I think it's very powerful. And one of the key things I just took away from that, Alan, is that when we think about a trust, right, and you just mentioned a trust can't name the guardian, the will must do it. Right. And that's why a will accompanies, if you will, that fourth core document you talk about called a trust.
Right.
That's awesome.
Right. That's something you're not allowed to pass your child through a trust. You need the formalities of a will because it's such an important decision.
Very important.
So you want to name that guardian, and then what do you consider when you're naming that guardian? Right? What are some key features to think about? Well, you're talking about the person that's going to raise your child. So what's their value system? Yeah. Is it something similar to yours that you approve? What's their temperament? I tell my clients what's their child situation? Do they have other children?
Sure.
And of course, that can cut both ways because having other children means they're going to have parental experience. But at the same time, you've got to ask, do they have the capacity for your children as well? Do they have the resources, outside of time and energy? Do they have the financial resources to care? Sadly, you're thinking a child's already in this situation, gone through a tremendous loss. Does the person you can put in that place live in the same community possibly, maybe go to the same school district?
Right.
So, whatever stability you can keep in place for the child going forward during this traumatic time.
Emotional impact.
Look at that. And I guess also I think of, sometimes grandparents want to step into this role, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
But you got to ask, do the grandparents just have them to have an honest assessment of whether they have the physical ability, to take care of it. Again, depends on the grandparents and depends on the child.
Sure.
Yeah, so there's a lot to take into account, but it's an extremely important decision.
The most important, right? I mean, it is, as you mentioned, passing children through, right, this process onto the next generation it's imperative, right? And it is, there's kind of no redos on that. Right. And so that's why you really work with a professional, because we have this kitchen table conversation, Alan, like people, our audience knows this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. It is you by years of experience, right? And it is the framework that we have built to allow people to come in, hopefully, and disarm them, because this is an emotional subject. Very emotional subject. And so the best thing we can do up front is just have a conversation, and you do this every day. Mm-hmm. Have a conversation about, what are we trying to accomplish, right? Let's remove some of the emotion out. Let's be a little bit more logical about it. With our experience, we hope to give you some idea of the type of things people do, right? Your situation perhaps could be different, but what are we trying to do? And I think
for risks that we hope never realize.
Never realize, right. That we never go through. But hey,
that's our job.
That's our job, right? So thank you, Alan. Sure. I think if anybody wants to connect with us on that level and have this very important estate planning conversation, doesn't matter if it's a very intricate, very sensitive, very emotional conversation. We're here to have that conversation and go through that with the person that we're working with to understand better their goals, so we can to make it happen. So You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show, folks. We'll be right back.
Still ahead on the Retirement Halftime Show, financial planning based on your personality. How understanding your character traits could fatten up your retirement savings. Coming up. Text Alexander today and schedule a visit to discuss your financial goals for tomorrow and beyond. Text 707-ReJoyce.
Your choice of coach matters. Choose the best financial coach in Indiana to be on your team. Alexander Joyce and the ReJoyce Financial team have the knowledge and bench strength to make your money last. Text 707-ReJoyce. That's ReJoyce with a Y. Or call 317-903-9157 to schedule a no-cost, no-obligation visit to get your retirement game plan in order. Your financial coach matters. Choose only the best. ReJoyce Financial.
You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show, powered by ReJoyce Financial.
Planning to win. Coaching strategies for financial success. Here's Alexander Joyce and Butler University Athletic Director, Barry Collier.
You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show. I'm your host, Alexander Joyce, and with me today is Athletics Director, Barry Collier. And Barry, what an opportunity and a pleasure to just, sit here and conversate with you more than anything. I've spoke with multiple coaches and head coaches, people not quite in your position. That's why this is very special. Because, when we talk to them, one of the big things that stick out is culture, right? And it's the system of, because they're recruiting. And I ask them, I say, when you're recruiting, and you've been in this position, I'm sure, when you're recruiting and you're across the table, or you're doing a Zoom meeting in this day and age, right? And you're talking to a kid and you're enrolling them into something. What's the big takeaway there? And they mention culture, right? And they mention, at the end of the day, they're there to get an education, right? These kids are there to get education. As you mentioned, there's a 4-year window there, and they have to fit and belong to the culture. And it's the same thing that I try to make sure that our clients understand, is that we're not right for everybody, right? Butler's not right for everybody, right? And everybody's not right for us. Right. And so it's interesting because at your level, if you will, it's a little bit different. And you can speak on both sides because you are who you are, and you have the position, and you've been in this position for a long time. And so when you're looking and you're making change to the program, and you're looking for, let's say, a coach, right? Somebody that you, perhaps in your position being in this industry so long, trust, and there's still that, making sure that they belong, and their belief system and their moral compass and ethics, as you mentioned, is pointing in the right direction. What kind of goes into that? I mean, when you're hiring someone as significant as the head of that program and department, trusting them to enroll into your existing culture, maybe kind of walk me through that a little bit.
Yeah, that's a great question. One I spend a lot of time on, because I think, as I pointed out initially, the people that you're involved with and working for, and those working for you, are really going to drive the success of the organization that you have. And so we look for 5 things when we are considering someone to join our team in Butler Athletics. And the first would be integrity, and obviously, everybody deserves a second chance type. We believe in that. That second chance might not come at Butler. I understand. So there needs to be a high level of integrity, and there shouldn't be any question about that. And you can't even get to the plate to bat if you don't have that. So that somewhat goes without saying for everybody, but the fact of the matter is, not everybody does things the right way, and I'm not suspicious of others so much as I just want to be comfortable that I can trust them, because that's effectively what this comes down to, is trust. Yeah. The second thing is, we want them to be highly intelligent. And having said that, it's not just IQ, but emotional intelligence as well. In the business of relationships and recruitment and ticket sales and fundraising and recruiting athletes to come to your school and join your team, you want a level of understanding, intelligence, and relationship understanding, or emotional intelligence as well. I think it's critical to be a good communicator. This is kind of interesting because, with the staff that we hire in Butler Athletics, we expect a level of communication, but everybody's a little bit different on that, and more comfortable in opening up quicker, or sharing, their knowledge quicker, or expressing themselves better. That comes with experience, and everybody's a little bit different than that anyway. Right. But I think there's great value on somebody that can talk to kids that are 3 years old or somebody that's 103 years old. That takes some skill and some empathy and some emotional intelligence, and the communication is different with everybody, and much less individuals like those two on the end of the spectrum. Right. But groups, right? It's not as easy. It's not the same thing when you're talking to a group as you are an individual. Sure. So I think communication is really, really important. And work ethic is important as well, and you can substitute words in all of these things, but work ethic is just your ability to grind when you need to, and it might be, in your case, digging into data and going back and finding whatever it is that you need to provide that for someone, or staying on the road day after day recruiting, or staying after it when you've been told no for donations or ticket sales or whatever the case might be. Right. That kind of work ethic and determination, drive, whatever you want to use, grit, those are all appropriate and very important. And the last one is relative experience. And the way I describe that is really, you don't have to have the exact experience that you're being hired for or you're being recruited to. And you don't have to have the most experience that you're in the area that you're being recruited to, but you got to have, it's helpful on the field of people that you would be looking at for a position to have some experience. It might be high-level experience, but only 3 years of it. Yeah. Or it might be 12 years of something in between on a different level, or even a different area. And there, you throw in the outside the box category of experience, and you got a kind of a wide open look at people that way. But those are the 5 things that I think are really critical, and they apply in a little bit different, but they apply to forming a team and recruiting to your team. It is based on need. You need this position and what the tasks are executed, but really having somebody that the best of the field who are interested in that job to answer those 5 areas would be the number one thing for us.
You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show, powered by ReJoyce Financial.
Today's tip of the week for stronger financial health. Understand your financial planning personality to help you make better investing decisions. Organizers categorize and arrange everything. Architects master both creativity and logic. Philosophers enjoy thinking about and solving problems. If you have one of those personalities, a written financial plan can offer you a sense of security. Creating and writing out your plan will synthesize your personality and provide clear direction on how to improve and grow your financial well-being. Dreamers are free spirits who believe everything will work out in their favor. Improvisers desire independence. Mavericks work to reshape their world rather than try to fit in it. For those with a dreamer, improviser, or maverick personality, a written plan can provide the structure you need. It'll help keep you financially grounded while still allowing the opportunity for changes craved by your personality. That's today's tip of the week for stronger financial health.
Thank you for watching the Retirement Halftime Show. If you have questions about today's show, give us a call, send us a text, or go to our website. Most importantly, maintain your lead in retirement. I'm Alexander Joyce, and I'll see you next time.